Hello my dear students, I am Anjum Sheikh. In previous video, we have discussed about the need to conserve the natural resources. Now in this video, we will be studying about the forests and wildlife. We will discuss about the various stakeholders of the forest, means the people who are dependent on the forests, management of forests, as well as the participation of people in the management of the forest. Forests are said to be biodiversity hotspots. Why? Because the range of different life forms such as bacteria, fungi, ferns, flowering plants, nematodes, insects, birds, reptiles and so on are found in the forest. That is the reason why the forests are known as biodiversity hotspots. Why forests are called as biodiversity hotspots? Because of the various kinds of life forms found in the forests. The various, here in the image you can see the various types of life forms found in the forest. These life forms are such as bacteria, fungi, ferns, flowering plants, nematodes, insects, birds, reptiles and so on. As these are found in the large numbers in the forests, so the forests are known as the biodiversity hotspots. The main aim of the conservation of forests and wildlife is to try and preserve the biodiversity we have inherited. We are very lucky that we have inherited the biodiversity, so we should protect it. Now what are the stakeholders? First we should know the meaning of the word stakeholder. A stakeholder can be a person or a group of an organization that may be affected or have any kind of interest in the project or in the project's outcome, directly or indirectly. In simple words, stakeholder can be a person, a group or an organization that may be affected or have any kind of interest in the project or in the project's outcome, either directly or indirectly. For example, we all are the stakeholders of a school. How? Because we are concerned with the school, students, parents, teachers, the school staff, all are the stakeholders of the school. Now we have to study what are the stakeholders of the forest. Stakeholders of forest are the people who are concerned with the forest, who are getting the benefit from the forest. The first very important stakeholders of the forests are the local people or the forest tribal. Then second is the Forest Department of India. Third stakeholders are the industrialists, and fourth stakeholders are the forest and wildlife activists or enthusiasts. So these are the four main stakeholders of the forest. The first stakeholders of the forests are the local people or the forest tribal. You know that their lifestyle is totally different from the lifestyle of ours. Here you may see the images of the local people or the forest tribal people. The people who are living in or near the forests, they need large quantities of firewood, small timber and thatch. Thatch means it is a dried grass which is used by the tribal people to construct their huts, as well as they also use bamboo to make huts and baskets for collecting and storing their food material. They are also dependent on the forest to make the implements for agriculture, fishing and hunting. These implements are made from wood, and this wood is obtained from the forests. Also these people gather fruits, nuts and medicines from the forests. Also their cattle graze in the forests. Means these people are totally dependent on the forests for their livelihood. Which people? The local people or the tribal people. These are the people who are living in or near the forests, and they are completely dependent on the forests. Now the second stakeholder of the forest is the Forest Department of India. The Forest Department of India, before the entry of the British, the British people started the forest department, and they had converted the vast tracts of forest to the monocultures. Even the forest department of India has also converted the vast tracts, means the very large areas of forest, to monocultures of pine, teak or eucalyptus, etc. What is monoculture? Only a single type of plants are grown in a particular area. These monocultures are useful for the industries to access the specific product. If only a single type of product is grown which is useful for the industry, then it will be useful for the industries. These monocultures are an important source of revenue for the forest department. There are monocultures of pine, teak or eucalyptus, and these are the major source of revenue for the forest department. Here you may see the image of the monoculture. So in monoculture, the cutting of trees becomes very easy. These industries get more benefit, but it destroys the biodiversity in a particular area. So such monocultures are very harmful for the forests. The third stakeholders of the forests are the industrialists. The industries which are based on the forest products are timber, paper, lac and sport equipment industries. They are based on the forest products. So these industries consider the forest just as a raw material to their factories. They are not concerned with the environment. What do they consider the forest? They consider the forest just as a raw material. These are not interested in sustainability of forests in one particular area. For example, after cutting down all the teak trees in one area, they will get their teak from a forest farther away. They are not concerned with the harm to the environment. They just want to collect their raw material. So once the raw material or the forests in one area gets destroyed, they will seek the another forests. Here you may see how the industrialists are rudely destroying the environment. You know that forests are said to be the lungs of the earth, but these are being destroyed by such industrialists. Now the four important stakeholders are nature and wildlife enthusiasts or activists. These are the people who are interested in conservation of forests and wildlife. They were initially taken up with large animals. These conservationists were first discussing about the large animals like lion, tiger, elephant and rhinoceros, etc. But now they recognize the need to preserve the biodiversity as a whole. Means all the living organisms found in the forest should be preserved. All are very important for our ecosystem. This nature and wildlife enthusiasts. You might have seen the various programs on the Discovery Channel. So they show the examples of the nature and the wildlife enthusiast. Man versus wildlife, man versus wild, etc. Even there are some people who are doing their PhD in particular animals, in the about the plants, etc. So these all are the nature and wildlife enthusiasts. The example of nature loving people in India is the Bishnoi community of Rajasthan. The Bishnoi community of Rajasthan is well known for its love for the nature. The government of India has instituted an Amrita Devi Bishnoi National Award for the wildlife conservation. Amrita Devi died while saving the trees from cutting. Here you may see her last word. That means a chopped head is cheaper than a chopped tree. And this couplet later became a rallying cry for the Bishnois. See her sacrifice. Along with Amruta Devi, 363 Bishnoi people died while saving the trees from the cutting. According to them, a chopped head is cheaper than a chopped tree. Just imagine how great these people were. Because of such people, we are enjoying the forest, we are enjoying the clean and pure air. Then Chipko movement is also well known. This Chipko movement began in the early 1980s from a small village, Reni, in Garhwal district. The women of the village began hugging a tree to prevent the cutting of tree by the contractors. So these people were also inspired by the Bishnoi community. The Chipko movement later spread to other parts of India. It had been instrumental in stopping deforestation to a large extent. The Chipko movement is also well known. The women from the village, they were hugging the trees, so preventing the cutting down of the trees. So this movement is known as the Chipko movement. Now there is example of people's participation in the management of forests. In the year 1972, the forest department realized its mistake while reviving the degraded sal forests of Arbari forest range. Arbari forest range lies in Midnapur district of West Bengal. The earlier methods of policing and surveillance were a total failure. What were the earlier methods? The methods were like the use of the security guards, policing, as well as surveillance. So these were a total failure as they often led to the frequent clashes with the local people. It also led to alienation of people from the conservation program. As the government was calling police, as there were conflicts with the local people, so the program to conserve the sal trees was totally failed. Then came a forest officer named A.K. Banerjee. He was a real visionary. What he did? He involved the local people in the revival of 1272 hectares of forests. In return of that, the villagers were given employment in silviculture and harvest, and were given 25% of the harvest. See how wise that officer was. The officer named A.K. Banerjee. He involved the local people in the conservation of forests, and in return the people were given employment in silviculture as well as harvest, and they were given 25% of the harvest. They were also allowed to gather the firewood and fodder against a nominal payment. So due to the active participation of the local community, there was a remarkable revival of the Arbari sal forest. By the year 1983, the value of the forest rose to rupees 12.5 crores. Means it gave a large amount of profit to the Forest Department of India. So this is the example of people's participation in the management of forests. We can't manage or protect the forests without the participation of the local people, and this is proved by the example of the Arbari forests. Here you may see the forest range office of the Arbari forests. See, it says that if you have to conserve the human beings, you should conserve forests also. If forests are there, then only human beings can survive. Otherwise, all the human beings, all the animals would get destroyed in the absence of the forests. Now, why should we conserve the forests and wildlife? Just now we have discussed the conservation of forests is very important for the stability of the environment. The forest serves as a home to a huge variety of life forms. So the destruction of these forests can disturb the food chain, and it can lead to the extinction of many important species. Also, forest protects the soil from erosion and play a vital role, that is important role, in the water cycle. The loss of forests can severely affect the day-to-day lives of the humans. These are the reasons why should we conserve the forests and wildlife. So how to conserve the forests? We can take some steps. The steps that can be taken to conserve the forests include: first is planting of trees to combat the deforestation. For example, deforestation is widely done for the construction of roads. So the planting of trees should be done to combat the deforestation. There should be placement of security forces in forest to prevent the poaching. Poaching means hunting of the animals as well as smuggling of the forest resources. There are some people who cut the forest trees. So this should be prevented by the placement of the security forces, as well as hunting of the wild animals should be stopped. You know that there is a special law for the hunting of the animals. Then there should be incorporation of steps to protect the forest dwellers without disturbing their lifestyle. If the human beings are going to visit the forest, they should not disturb the wildlife in the forest. Then avoiding the conversion of forest land into roads, buildings and dams. There should be a law to avoid the conversion of forest land into roads, buildings and dams. The forest should be the protected areas. So these are the various steps to conserve the forests. In the next video, we will be discussing about the water management. Thank you.